Diving Talks for me is a very unique conference. I'm lucky to speak at a lot of the conferences, but the Diving Talks is very different because Arlindo had this idea to do these small, short, impactful talks of just 20 minutes and to fit 3 speakers into 1 hour and then do a combined question session at the end. And when I was first invited for my first Diving Talks, I found this a little bit daunting because normally I speak for an hour and plus 10 minutes of questions is normally quite an intense subject. But after my first Diving Talks, I thought, no, this works. And the first time I was there in person was 2023. And it's really fresh, it's really different, it's an intimate audience. And both times I've been, it's been in a really amazing venue. And there's a lot of interaction between the delegates and the speakers during the event and in the evenings and the days around the event as well. So yeah, it's a really good conference to speak at. I think the most inspiring thing about Diving Talks 2024 was the high percentage of delegates that were young people. There were young divers, teenage divers, people that were really just starting out in diving and starting out in their life. And as well as having a passion for diving, a lot of them were doing scientific degrees or working in scientific areas or had an ambition to work in scientific diving or scientific areas. And this is new. Normally, a lot of the conferences in the past have been a lot of kind of middle-aged guys and people who've been diving their whole life and the same old faces every time. But in the last couple of years, this dynamic has changed, and all of the conferences I speak to are starting to attract even more young people. But at Diving Talks in 2024, it was really noticeable because most of the best questions after the panels from the audience were from the young people asking, how can I get involved? How can I do more? How can I become a scientific diver, a scientific diving supporter, or something along these lines? And that was really fresh and really nice to see. So if people were considering coming to Diving Talks, then I would say one of the big advantages is there's so much amazing diving in Portuguese territory on the islands nearby, like the Azores, where you can combine a diving trip with the conference. And then, of course, Lisbon itself is such a beautiful city. Plus, the conference itself is a really good opportunity to network, to meet other divers, and most importantly, to meet the speakers. Because it's so intimate, each delegate can get personal time with the speakers. And when the event organizes the dinner, the table is mixed up. So the delegates are sitting next to the speakers. So you get some great one-to-one time with some of the world's best speakers, people like Simon Mitchell and David Dublett. It's absolutely fantastic. So my plan to speak at this year's Diving Talks in October 2025, I'm going to be talking about what I've been doing with my own diving in the last year. And what I've been doing in my own diving is getting more and more involved in active scientific diving projects. Now, that used to be my job. I was dive safety officer for Lund University and for teams from various institutions worldwide, including Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute. And that was mainly on maritime archaeology, shipwreck projects and ancient shipwreck sites. But what I've been doing this year is working more towards the marine life science and using my skills as a diver, a supervisor, a manager, and utilizing multiple diving disciplines to make scientific diving better and make it more productive for scientific teams. So I plan to talk on that this year, and the highlights will be trips that I've already done this year to northern Finland, diving under the ice, and to the extreme northwest of Scotland in the open sea, diving on seamounts and gathering sediment samples for study. So I'm going to explain what we were doing, why we were doing it, what benefit it has to science, and also explain how any diver, these young divers, from a beginning point can start and work their way till they're involved in such projects, because anybody can do it. It's just basically commitment and effort and keeping your focus on the goal. So that's this year's sneak peek of the talk. And I've got a couple of other trips already lined up prior to the talk to complement that.